Hey everyone, Road to Boston Day 5 is here. I'm Coach Kyle of Freedom Running Club, and today we're going to be talking about something that some people are not going to have any issues with incorporating during their runs, but if you're from a place like I'm in Tampa in Central Florida, definitely you do have to kind of plan for, and that's including rolling hills or terrain on some of your recovery runs, maybe your long runs, to specifically get ready for the Boston Marathon course, which is just hills all over the place. So what does this look like? I actually had a meeting with a client who's here in this general part of Florida that I'm in too, and they had a run that was a recovery run on hills. And they asked me, like, what does that mean? Aren't hills a harder workout? And it's designed to be a little bit more challenging. And basically what we said to them is like, no, like this is the idea of there's going to be some terrain on almost any race that you're doing. We just had a really big distance event here in Central Florida in Tampa called the Gasparilla Distance Classic. And even though that goes along Bayshore Boulevard, which you've ever been in this area is super flat, there's still a couple hills. You go onto bridges and things like that. There's always going to be some variation of this. And if you're running in places that are just super flat, or if you're just doing a lot of treadmill running where you're not getting any variation in your terrain, you're probably going to have some heart rate spikes. You're going to have some effort level spikes that you're not going to really want in, you know, not just your race, but anything that you're doing if you ever experience some of those things. So this is a way to really kind of add that to it without adding too much stress. So what does this look like? You know, like I said, in Central Florida, I'm specifically in Tampa, I have to plan out places where I'm going to get some rolling easy hills. If you're from someplace like maybe in Boston or someplace, another place that's looking at this video, you might not have this issue. You might be planning when to avoid it if you're doing different workouts. So essentially that's what you're going to be doing. What can I actually do to add in some of this rolling terrain to add to my recovery runs, my long runs, things like that? And essentially it's basically just what it sounds. You're still trying to keep the effort super easy. You're still trying to keep your heart rate in that very easy zone, something like under 150, something like that. And you're just adding this to your actual general run. So there's a place that's by me that I will do, say, like 8-mile run, hour 10, something like that, where I literally will do some easy flat ground running, and then I'll just go over and back. This is an overpass that's about 400 meters up, 400 meters down. It's really what I made reference in a previous video here for Marathon Pace Hills. It's the same location. It's super safe for me. You know, it's very even terrain. It's separated from the road by a cement barrier. Just look for these types of things. So again, even in a place like Tampa, which we are like 3 feet above sea level at like our maximum, you can still find places where you can add this in. If I'm looking to do a little bit longer, because I'd lose my mind doing something like, 10, 12, 14 miles, something like that. If I'm trying to get an MLR, which is one that I really recommend trying to add to it if you can, I can go about 30 minutes north of me where there's a little bit more hills, a little bit more terrain, a little bit more variation on it. What is this going to do in terms of physiology? Like I said, you're still trying to keep your effort fairly easy. You might see a little bit of a spike, just a little bit, maybe it gets a little bit over 150, but then it should very quickly recover on the downhill or flat part of this. You're not really looking for a super high heart rate like on those short hill interval days we talked about, or maintaining heart rate at marathon pace on those marathon pace hills. You're just going to be getting a couple of things. One, practice running hills. That does take some practice. There's all these crazy things online about, just drive your knees up and really force your arms. You don't want to do any of those things. You want to get used to what this looks like, feels like, get your body economical at running hills, and you're just getting a little bit more confident on the uphill and the downhill. We talked about this in a previous video. Downhill running takes practice as well, and you're going to want to just kind of add this in when you can. You're getting some extra strength work too. Whenever you're running, it's strength work because you're pushing off the ground, fighting against gravity, keeping your weight, pushing up into the air, really more forward is really the mechanic that you want. And that takes strength. You add that bit of a hill, a little bit of terrain, you're adding more strength to it. So there's a little bit more of a strength element to it. But if you're doing this correctly, this can be kind of penciled in at any point of your training cycle and still be able to do anything the next day. You do an easy run on hills, you can pretty much come back and do a marathon pace workout the next day. You could really come back and do a long run the next day, or anything that's a little bit faster that you're needing to kind of get into it. This really shouldn't impact that. So that's what I want you to kind of take away from this. This should not really be a whole hard workout in and of itself. If it is, that's now become a marathon pace hill or something else that you're doing here. This should really just be very gentle rolling hills. Get used to running it. And again, if you're getting ready for the Boston Marathon, and you probably are if you're watching this video, or a hilly kind of course, This is just something that you're going to want to practice, and this will kind of help add to it. Reduce some of that stress on race day too, and just kind of like that mental process of I know I can run hills. I do it all the time. Not only have I done some of the other hill type training that I mentioned in the series, the short, fast uphills and downhills, marathon pace hills, adding just some of this rolling terrain, is it going to make the difference of, 5, 10, 15 minutes in your race performance? Probably not, but it is going to help you be a little bit more confident with it, allow your body to just kind of deal with that slight increase in heart rate and then it flattening out, and you're going to get some extra strength that you're definitely going to need as you get to mile 17, 18 of the Boston Marathon course. So that's another hill type training. Like I said, Boston is all about hills, so we've already now done this as I think the third video we've talked about with hill training. We're going to be talking about a little bit more just specifics for marathon training success as you're getting here into some of your longest runs here in the next few videos.